Okay, well, I guess I should say, as we always do, thank you to Sierra, our voiceover and booth announcer, and welcome to another episode of the Jim Bratton Podcast. Focus Your Inner Bitch, the Mary Bratton Story. And those of you that are watching, this is a behind-the-scenes video. We're primarily an audio product. And those of you listening, there will be a link on the description of this podcast that shows where you can listen to this. So, Mary, once again, I have no idea what she's going to say today. This is episode, 15 now? 15. We just posted 14. We've been a little bit tardy, by the way, in posting these. We've been a lot of stuff going on. So some of that had to take precedent over getting these podcasts up here. But we still appreciate you all watching and listening primarily. And so let's begin.
Okay.
So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I think we've gotten to where I buy my house. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so here it is, Super Bowl Sunday, 1978. Super Bowl Sunday. I'm laying in bed. Well, first of all, you need to know that the company that I'd worked for when I worked at the feed plant, they implemented the 401k thing.
Right. And this right just the beginning of 401k.
Yes, right at the beginning of 401k. And so I put in $2,000, and because they sold the little plant that I was with, they fully vested me, so I got $5,000 out.
Oh, that was a quick turnaround.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
So, and of course, immediately when that became available, I put all that they would let me put in.
Right.
And that ended up about $2,000. I got $5,000 out, so I said, okay, I need to do something with this $5,000. I'll buy a house. I start looking, and I look, and anyway, I looked at new houses, and I looked at places that I thought I might like, and I really didn't like anything that I was seeing. So then I started looking at the want ads, classifieds.
Right. This is back when newspapers.
Yes, well, newspapers were a thing. Yeah. Exactly. On Super Bowl Sunday, I find 3 houses that I want to look at. Right. And they are all in the Eastwood area. One of them I looked at was just too, I didn't like it when I drove by it.
Right.
And the second one I kind of thought, I didn't like it when I drove by it. And the second one I kind of thought was a good house. What I had very specific things. I wanted to live on a street that was curbed.
Right.
Had a curb.
Not always occasionally in a city.
Not a ditch. I wanted a curbed street. I wanted the exterior of the house to be brick. What else did I want? Something else. Oh, if I could have a fireplace, then I would think that I'd hung the moon. So I think that was my 3 things. So when I drove by, I did see that this place had a chimney. And
so that was a good chance there was a fireplace in there.
Yes, exactly. I called up the phone number. And of course, as I said, it was Super Bowl Sunday. So we agreed that we would meet there after the Super Bowl was over.
Yeah.
With the realtor. And so I went, after I drove by there, I went on to my mother's house and we watched the Super Bowl, and I got Mother and Daddy to come with me to go look at the house.
Right.
And it was the little house on Lamar.
Oh, my.
And it had a curb street, and it was a brick exterior, and it had a fireplace. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. And they wanted $25,000 for it. So I put down $5,000, and I bought my first house. And I bought, I bought it I think I got it in March. And that same year, you bought your house, and you got it in May.
That's exactly right. 1978 in May, because I bought it as a birthday gift to myself. I thought probably I should have a house. Now, your criteria was very thorough, okay?
Well, I don't know how thorough it was.
Well, I'll tell you mine.
Okay, so wait a minute. I have to tell you that the house was built in like 1924, so it had no insulation. The bricks were falling off of it.
It was a good-looking little house, though. It was.
It was it's interesting.
It had a garage.
It had a garage. Oh, that was the third thing. I wanted a garage.
Yeah.
And it had a garage. Yes.
Shall I tell how I bought mine?
Yes, go ahead. It's yours.
Driving around like here. I worked at a distributor that was in the East End area. And driving around one lunch hour, and I hadn't gotten myself anything for my birthday, and I saw this house. And so I think I went in it before I bought it, but maybe not. So I called the number
And yours was for sale by owner.
for sale by owner. So I didn't have to go through any kind of financing or anything. So mine was more expensive. Yes. And I negotiated the closing and everything was negotiated, I think over the phone when I was at a business luncheon and took some time off to answer this. No cell phones. Listen, we need to bring you all up to date. No cell phones, no nothing. You had to go to a phone, a pay phone or something.
Exactly.
To respond to a page. If you were lucky enough to have a pager, well, I had the pager, and so I went to the phone. I called him and I talked to him for a while. The other guy had to wait for it. It was a client lunch. Okay, he had to just wait and agree to the terms of the
sale.
Now, Mary's house was well thought out. I don't want to take all the time on time, but it's a shame.
It's both of our stories. This is where we finally get together.
This is right. This is where her story becomes our story. Well, it's still her story, okay? This is where I join. Boy.
Well,
This is the preface to my being able to join her life. And so I bought that, and it had a guest house, and that's when
I know you never went into the wet guest house.
I thought a guest house.
And it had 2 guys in it.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it with tenants there.
And tell them about the swimming pool.
It had a swimming pool that was an ecologically balanced pool, had not been touched, I don't know, for years. God knows, there could have been remains in that pool for all I knew when I bought it. And when I told somebody that was from the neighborhood that I bought that house, and they said, Jim, that house is so out of level you can't even stand up in it. I mean, mug across the floor, you're going to fall in. It's still, oh man, it had dark draperies. It had green mottled carpet. And
as I recall, you said it had just like little pathways because she was such a pack rat.
She wasn't a hoarder necessarily, but it had a lot of stuff left in it. But yeah, I mean, it was, that was, Jim did crux. I don't even know how I bought that house. So anyway, the crux of it is, Mary bought a house, I bought a house. Her house was a more practical purchase than mine.
It was a nice little bungalow. I had 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. I had a nice living room, a bigger dining room, and a nice-sized kitchen. Now, the kitchen did not have a dishwasher or garbage disposal, anything. It had a stove, period.
Well, you're lucky if it had a stove. A lot of times, an unfurnished house is totally unfurnished.
Well, part of it was that the range was built in.
You had a built-in?
It was built in, yes.
Holy cow.
The house had been remodeled, and they put a built-in stove, and way across the kitchen was where they had the oven. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
it had been part of the back porch, and they sort of brought that in to the house.
That was interesting because you had what I guess was like a screened porch back there originally.
Yes.
You seen what the kitchen. Yeah, that was a great looking house, Mary. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it just was a nice layout. I mean, it's classic. Any of you who looked at the Heights or Eastwood, you know exactly what that house looked. It was your typical 2-bedroom bungalow.
It had a wonderful front porch. It was good. Yes, I was quite happy with that house.
Okay. Continue. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. And, okay, so I buy this house, and I could barely afford it, okay? And I'm not kidding you. I could barely afford it. Of course, when you moved back then, you had to put in huge deposit for power and gas and telephone and all of that stuff. And I bear, as I said, what I had to do is go eat at my mom and dad's for about 3 nights a week so I could eat, believe me. Get a part-time job, start,
Tell me about a part-time job.
I worked at Lord & Taylor.
I know, for those of you that don't the Lord Taylor, it was a major department.
Yes, it was, and it was great. And I worked in the handbags and accessories.
Did you?
And mostly the handbags and accessories were, they were very nice, of course. It was Lord & Taylor, but I ended up spending more on my discount,
Oh, the ability to
the ability to shop at Lord & Taylor than I did make it.
Come on, you ain't
Yes,
some fun.
I made some money. Yes, I did make some.
Did you work on commission at all?
No, it wasn't.
You remember what your hourly wage was?
No, do I remember? No, I don't. Do I remember? No.
This is just
But it was great. I had anyway, and I had, I was driving a little Mustang then.
right.
And, as I said, I had to go eat at my folks 3 nights a week. So I wasn't starving to death. And Mother, of course, would give me leftovers and what have you. So I didn't even have a refrigerator in there. So it turns out my brother had this antique refrigerator, and he was trying to sell it for $25. I mean, this is a refrigerator that was not, had an ice thing at the top. It didn't defrost itself. You had the manual defrost it. It was an antique refrigerator, okay? And so I tell my brother I want to buy it from him, and anyway, he gives it to me.
Oh, wow.
And he and Daddy come and bring it
Of course
into
they
my house, and
He set it up for you.
they set it up for me exactly. Oh, and my house, the front yard, okay, had this huge tree in the front, so there had not been grass growing there.
We sucked all the water out of that.
For 25 years, there had not been grass in that front lawn. There was a tiny bit of grass on one side, but of course, I had a sidewalk up to the porch and the sidewalk up across the front. So I wanted grass. Well, of course, I could barely afford to feed myself. So what did I do for grass? I asked everybody if I could edge their lawn. So I would go get that grass and put it in my yard, dig things. And there was a vacant lot down the street, so I went down there and cleaned the whole gutter, because guess what? All of that had wonderful nutrients.
From the earth.
From the earth. Wow. And there, of course, there was a lot of grass growing into the gutter. So I grabbed all of that and, came and put it in my lawn. The children that were around, they were always interesting talking to me and what have you. I said, when you come by this yard, I want you to say to the grass, "Grow, grass, grow." And I had them all trained to do that. And that's what I was doing too. And so I might have come home from Lord & Taylor at 9 o'clock at night, but I was out there watering the grass because I wanted that damn grass to grow. And guess what? It took root. It did take root,
Yeah.
but I edged other people's lawns.
I need to ask you.
Yes.
What did you use to edge the people's lawns with? Ants?
My hands, maybe a little axe that I'd borrowed from Daddy.
Where we're going with this is things that are taken for granted now, like a weed eater, or if there is such a thing as a weed eater, or an edger, or any of that.
Any of that stuff. No, I didn't. Fine. Now, of course, I didn't need a lawnmower because it didn't have any grass. So when the grass finally started growing, my next door neighbor was a darling man. He and his family lived there, and Rose was the wife's name. I cannot remember what the man's name was, but he would mow my grass once it started taking hold. And finally, I did get a lawnmower, and I think Daddy one somewhere that was a push mower. And
Does anyone know? You know what? Push mower for explanations all the way through on this. A push mower, you pushed, and the friction of the wheels on the ground turned a set of blades, and It was hell. It was hard.
Yes, exactly. So, but before this man started mowing my grass, he asked me if he could, and I said, "Will you please not do it right away, because I want the grass to take root." I said it needs to get a little bit longer. It needs to start spreading out.
Yeah, or at least get started.
Yes, exactly. Before he cut it off, he said, "Okay." And when he first agreed to cut my grass, he said, "I'm going to show you what I'm doing." And he raised the mower higher so that he would not.
Now, we got a power mower,
Yes, he had a power mower.
rotary mower.
Yes. So he raised the thing and just cut the tops of the grass off. And I did get plenty of grass growing. It was great. And then, of course, I was getting cuttings from Mother on the plants, and other people gave me cuttings. And so I was, learning how to grow stuff in the yard. But as I said, I worked real hard on that. And during that time, I didn't do anything with the neighborhood. But during that time, that's when you did.
Yeah.
So tell them about starting the civic.
Well, we had refounded the Civic Association in that area, and so we began to have meetings concerned about the neighborhood. We were an emerging neighborhood at best.
Emerging, trying to gentrify. I mean, doing everything we could to make it.
Gentrified, just to sort of claim it as a good place to live, which we began to do. So anyway, what was I? No, I wasn't president.
No, you weren't president until after we got married.
Yeah. So, but I was active in it, in a semi-leadership kind of position. Oh,
yeah. So they started up the Civic Association. So one day, I get a flyer from the Civic Association, and I say, well, I could finally afford to eat, so I thought, okay, I guess I need to join the Civic Association. That's what you do. If you own a house, you need to be involved. Well, that was, from my folks. From my folks. They, what they did, they were good citizens.
They were civically active.
Yes.
They certainly were.
So I went to the first the newspaper for the neighborhood was they were looking for a name for it.
That's right.
And they could not, and so the first one that I had question marks at the top. No name.
Right.
And so when I went to my very first Civic Association meeting, I of course didn't know a soul there, because at my house, none of the adults would speak to me except for the antique people. And I say antique people, I'm saying these people were about 75 and older.
Mary, that's not that old.
I know now it's not that old because we're that old. However, they, let's see, so my next door neighbors were old, and across the street from them was an old couple. And then next door, straight across from me, was John, who was a postal carrier, but he was alcoholic.
Mary, you can't say that.
He was.
I know people might know him.
Well, anyway, and then next door to them, there was another old, and these are old white people. Okay, they're not
People like
they're not Mexican. Okay, all the other people on the block are Mexican, and only these white people spoke to me.
Why is that?
Because I was a woman living by myself.
And heaven forbid you bought your own house.
Yes. So here the kids are every day. Where's your daddy? I said, my daddy's at home with my mother. Wait a minute, you don't have a daddy? I said, yes, I have a daddy, and he's at home with my mother. So when I finally realized what they were asking was, where was my husband?
Or the man.
Or the man, I said, you don't need a husband to buy a house. I have bought this house for myself.
Wow.
And they were just like, they couldn't believe it.
Well, I think you played a major part in enlightenment among these kids.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of interesting, is what I'll say.
Did you get pushback from the parents by the fact that you were on your own and the kids were hanging out a little bit.
Yes. Those parents, of course, they did not speak to me. Now, one day from down the street, the man walks by, and I know he is father to several of these children.
Yeah.
So he asked me if I bought the house, and I said, yes. And he said, what did it cost you? And I told it, 25 grand. He said, you have a good job. I said, yes, I have a good job.
Yep, two good shots.
Well, I know. That was the first time any of them parents spoke to me. About maybe a month or two later,
Right.
one of his, and it was one of his children, the mother comes over and she says, Esmeralda is missing. She said, I don't know where she is. Will you help me look for her?
Right.
She's asking me this in Spanish.
Right.
And so I just stopped what I was doing, and I don't know why I was not at work, but I wasn't at work. And so I stopped and I knocked on all the doors around me to the gringo people, because I know the other woman could speak and did knock on the Hispanic people's doors.
Right. Right.
And so we were, I was looking for Esmeralda. So, and she was a cute, cute little girl. Oh my God, she had to have been about 4 years old. And of course, she had older brothers and sisters, and they all had gone to school. That's what the mother thought, that Esmeralda had maybe followed them to school.
Oh.
Anyway, everybody is saying, well, why didn't the mother know where she is? The gringo parents were saying, what? And I'm saying, look, I don't know, but a child is missing and we need to find her.
Yeah.
So after I've knocked on all of the doors of the white folks, I go and knock on my mother's door, and I say that, none of us have seen it. Esmeralda, she says, well, I found her. Did she tell me? No. Anyway, Esmeralda went to sleep on the top bunk of a bunk bed, and she was wrapped in the blanket, and that's why she couldn't find her. Anyway, Esmeralda was found. So anytime I saw any of the other people, then I did tell them that Esmeralda was found and not to worry. But then
I was going to say, what was the reaction in the community after that?
Then they did kind of start speaking to me a little bit. Then they also realized, this woman can afford her own house, so we will invite her to any of our things.
Oh, every shower and
every birthday party or whatever, I got invited because I would bring a gift.
I would love to say that you were invited because you were a good social friend, et cetera, et cetera.
No, but nah. I don't know.
You have a house and you could buy a gift.
Yes, it was funny. So, of course, during that time, I was, I was still dating other fellows because I didn't know you. I mean, I hadn't met you then. So I had a fellow that drove a Peugeot. Another fellow had an Audi. Another fellow had a BMW. And I'm trying to remember, did I have anybody with a Mercedes? I don't remember, but they were fairly expensive cars, okay? And then I go to the Civic Association and I meet you. And, so here's Jim walking back and forth. What is he doing? He's doing Houstonians on Watch is a big deal during that time. And that was to know your neighbors so you can watch out for one another. And so I tell Jim, first of all, when I walked into the meeting, I don't know anybody. And then I see somebody it's a friend of a friend. And so I go and sit with her, and they have the whole meeting. Jim is there. He gives his report from the Houstonians on Watch.
My appeal.
His appeal. Oh, yes, exactly. And then after the meeting, of course, he's got a table set up with information and all that stuff. And Jeannie is this friend of a friend's name. And she says, Mary, you better go talk to that guy. Look at him. He's walking back and forth like a trapped panther or something. And he's going to explode if nobody goes and talks to him. I said, well, how come other people aren't? She says, well, they probably already signed up. Oh, okay. So I go over there and talk to Jim. I say, this isn't going to work on my block because nobody will talk to me. None, yes, the gringos will come, but but none of the Hispanics will come. So, this just won't work. He says, well,
I said,
fill out this information.
I said, give me your name and phone number anyway.
Yes. So I write my name and my phone number.
Great excuse.
Exactly. And that began our relationship.
And that is about where we are time-wise now.
Oh, okay.
So we'll pick up after that. I will say, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a reason to become civically involved. Alrighty.
Find your spouse.
This has been Focus Your Inner Bitch, the Mary Bratton Story on the Jim Bratton Podcast. Thank you all for listening or watching or for just hanging in there with us. We got more to come.
Yes, more to come.
Oh, man.
Yes, a lot more to come.
Oh, great. Thanks, Mary.
Oh.